It happens to almost everyone who learns a second language. They can read English perfectly, they can write long, complex emails without making a single grammatical mistake.
They can sit at home, watch a movie without subtitles, and understand exactly what is happening. They catch every nuance, every joke, and every plot twist.
But the second they step outside into the real world, or the second they jump on a Zoom call and someone asks them a direct question,
their mind goes completely blank. Their palms start sweating, their heart races, and all those thousands of vocabulary words they spent years studying just completely disappear.
It is incredibly frustrating. Millions of English learners experience this exact same mental block every single day. They know the language, but they just cannot speak it when the pressure is on.
Today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and how anyone can fix it by dedicating just 20 minutes a day to understanding real, contextual conversations.
Hey guys, welcome back to English with Jessy. I'm Jessy.
And I'm Jack.
So, Jack, you and I talk about this all the time. We see it with students constantly. What is actually happening in the brain when someone freezes up during a conversation?
It really comes down to the difference between passive and active recall, combined with a heavy dose of perfectionism. When someone is reading or listening, their brain is in a passive, relaxed state. The context clues do the heavy lifting for them, but when they have to speak, they enter active performance mode.
And when you are in performance mode, fear takes over. People become terrified of making a grammar mistake or using the wrong preposition.
Exactly. Instead of just letting the words flow, they try to build a mathematically perfect sentence in their head before they even open their mouth. They think, okay, do I use present perfect or past simple here? Is it in the table or on the table?
Which takes way too much time. In a real face-to-face conversation, taking 5 or 6 seconds to mentally translate and construct a sentence feels like an absolute eternity. The other person starts looking confused, you feel the social pressure building, and boom, your brain just shuts down completely to protect itself from the stress.
That is why we always advocate for the 20-minute daily immersion method. It's not about studying more grammar, it's about studying situations. It's about analyzing how native speakers actually talk to each other and memorizing phrases in solid blocks rather than word by word.
Right. If you memorize the chunk, you don't have to think about the grammar. It's already built in. Let's actually dive into some of those situations today right here at the table. We can role-play a few common scenarios and break down the vocabulary we naturally use.
I love that idea. Where should we start?
Let's start with the workplace, specifically Monday morning small talk. This is historically one of the most stressful situations for non-native speakers because it is unscripted.
Oh, absolutely. You walk into the break room to get a cup of coffee, your boss or your colleague is standing there, and you are suddenly forced to have a casual conversation. You want to sound friendly and professional, but not stiff or robotic.
Let's run a quick scenario. I'll be a colleague who just walked in, and you're already at the coffee machine.
Sounds good. Morning, Jesse. How was your weekend? Did you end up going to that outdoor festival?
Hey, Jack. Yeah, I did. It was absolutely packed, but we had a blast. How about you? Did you catch up on any sleep?
A little bit. Mostly I just laid low and binge-watched that new documentary series. Anyway, I better get back to my desk. I'm completely swamped this morning.
Good luck with that. Catch you later.
Let's pause and break that down. That was maybe 20 seconds of speaking, but it was incredibly dense with native phrasing.
The first thing I noticed is how you asked about my weekend. You didn't just say, "Did you go to the festival?" You said, "Did you end up going to that festival?"
End up is a fantastic phrasal verb. We use it to ask about the final result of a plan, especially if there was some uncertainty beforehand. Maybe it was going to rain, or maybe you were feeling tired on Friday. So I'm asking, what was the final decision? Did you end up going?
And my response was, it was absolutely packed, but we had a blast. If someone translates that directly into their native language, it might sound like a violent explosion in a crowded room.
Right, but packed simply means very crowded. Native speakers rarely say there were many people at the event. It sounds too formal. We just say, the place was packed.
And "we had a blast" is one of the most common idioms for having a great time. It sounds so much warmer and more natural than saying, "I enjoyed it very much."
Then we move to my response. I said I laid low. To lay low means to relax, stay at home, avoid attention, and not do anything too exhausting. It is the perfect phrase for a lazy weekend.
Notice how Jack didn't say, "I stayed inside my house and rested." He used a natural block of words, laid low. When you memorize laid low as one piece of vocabulary, you don't stress over the grammar.
I also use the phrase completely swamped. This is a workplace essential. If you tell your boss, "I am very busy," it sometimes sounds a bit dismissive or generic. But if you say, "I am swamped," it paints a visual picture of you being buried under a mountain of paperwork or emails. It communicates urgency perfectly.
Small talk in the office is just a series of these little blocks. You string them together and suddenly you sound completely fluent. Let's transition to a different environment. Restaurants. Dining out can be a minefield because the server usually speaks very quickly, there's background noise, and you have to make decisions on the spot.
Plus, you often have to make special requests or deal with mistakes, which requires a lot of tact and politeness. You can't just be blunt.
Exactly. You don't want to sound rude, but you need to get your point across. Let's role play a tricky restaurant scenario. I will be the waiter, and you are a customer who needs to change an order.
Okay. I'm sitting at the table looking at the menu.
Hi there. Are we ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes?
I think we're ready. I'm looking at the grilled salmon, but is it possible to substitute the roasted potatoes for a side salad?
Absolutely, we can do that. What kind of dressing would you like on the salad?
Could I get the vinaigrette, but on the side, please?
No problem at all. I'll get that put in for you.
There's a lot of specific restaurant vocabulary there. The first major one is substitute.
Yes, when you want to change one item for another, you ask to substitute. The phrasing you used is perfect. Is it possible to substitute X for Y? It's polite and clear. A lot of learners might say, "Can I change potatoes to salad?" which gets the point across, but substitute is the exact word servers are listening for.
I also asked for the dressing on the side. This is a hugely common request in North America. It just means you want the sauce or dressing in a separate little container rather than poured directly over the food.
It gives you control. And notice the polite framing you used throughout. You didn't say, "Give me the vinaigrette on the side." You used modal verbs. Could I get, or is it possible to?
Politeness in English is often achieved through indirectness. The longer the question, usually the more polite it sounds.
Let's extend the restaurant scenario. What happens if the server brings the wrong food? This causes so much anxiety for non-native speakers because they don't want to cause a conflict.
Let's play it out. You bring me the wrong dish. Here's your chicken Alfredo. Careful, the plate is hot.
Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but I actually ordered the grilled salmon. I think there might be a mix-up.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry about that. Let me take this back to the kitchen and get your salmon right away.
No worries, take your time.
The key phrase there is, "I think there might be a mix-up."
Exactly. A mix-up is a gentle, non-confrontational way to say a mistake was made. If I look at you and say, "You made a mistake," it immediately puts you on the defensive. It feels aggressive.
But by saying there might be a mix-up, you're removing the blame. It's a neutral accident. It diffuses the tension completely. This is why learning these phrases is so important. It's not just about correct grammar, it's about cultural competence and emotional intelligence in the language.
That transitions perfectly into our next scenario, which requires a ton of emotional intelligence. Travel, specifically dealing with airports, hotels, and things going wrong.
Nothing tests your language skills quite like the stress of a delayed flight or a lost hotel reservation. You're tired, frustrated, and you have to advocate for yourself in a second language.
Let's do an airport counter scenario. Your flight has been delayed, and you're trying to figure out your connecting flight. I will be the airline gate agent.
Okay, I'm approaching the desk. Hi, excuse me. My flight to Chicago was just delayed by 3 hours, and I'm worried I'm going to miss my connecting flight to New York.
I understand, sir. Let me pull up your itinerary. Bear with me for just a moment while the system loads.
Sure.
Okay, unfortunately, you will miss that connection. However, I can rebook you on a later flight tonight, or we can offer you a complimentary hotel voucher for the evening and put you on the first flight out tomorrow morning.
If I take the flight tomorrow morning, will I have to pay any fare difference?
No, sir. The change fee is completely waived due to the delay.
Okay, let's do the hotel and the morning flight then.
The vocabulary in airports is very specific. Let's start with what I said. Bear with me.
That is an excellent idiom. Bear with me means please be patient while I do something that takes a little bit of time. You hear this from customer service workers all the time when they are typing on a computer or looking up information.
It's much softer than saying, wait a minute. It implies that we are in this together, and I appreciate your patience.
I use the term connecting flight. In travel English, you rarely say my second airplane. You have your initial flight, and if you have to stop somewhere, you have a layover followed by a connecting flight.
I also used the word complimentary. This is a crucial word to know when traveling. Complimentary means free of charge, given as a courtesy. If a hotel offers a complimentary breakfast, you do not have to pay for it.
And the last big phrase was the fee is waived. To waive a fee means to officially cancel it or decide not to demand it. If you ever have a problem with a hotel or airline, asking, can the fee be waived, is the most professional way to ask for a free fix.
If you know these terms, itinerary, layover, complimentary, waived, you strip away all the panic of traveling. You don't have to guess what the agent is saying to you.
Let's move to something a bit more fun but equally intimidating. Social gatherings. Meeting new people at a party, a dinner, or a networking event.
This is where the 20-minute daily habit really shines, because social settings are incredibly fast-paced. People use slang, they talk over each other, and you have to be able to jump into the rhythm.
The hardest part of a social gathering is usually the introduction and finding common ground. Let's do a scenario where we are meeting for the first time at a mutual friend's birthday dinner.
Perfect. I'll initiate. Hi, I don't think we've formally met. I'm Jesse.
Nice to meet you, Jesse. I'm Jack. Are you a friend of Sarah's?
Yeah, we actually went to college together. We were roommates for 2 years. How do you know her?
Oh, no way! We actually work in the same department downtown. She talks about her college days all the time.
That's so funny. So what is it that you do at the company? Let's stop right there. This is a textbook perfect introduction.
It is. I started with, I don't think we've formally met. This is the best icebreaker. It acknowledges that you are in the same space. Maybe you have seen each other across the room, but you haven't spoken yet.
And then I asked, are you a friend of Sarah's? Establishing the mutual connection is the fastest way to build trust in a social setting.
When I explained how I knew her, I said, we went to college together. In American English, college is the universal term for university. We rarely say we went to university together.
My reaction was, oh, no way. This doesn't mean I don't believe you. It's an expression of pleasant surprise. It shows active listening and engagement.
And then I transitioned the conversation to you by asking, what is it that you do? This is the standard way to ask about someone's career. Asking, what is your job, can sound a bit interrogative, almost like a police interview. What do you do, or what do you do for a living is the culturally accepted standard.
Now, what about ending a social conversation? This is a huge pain point. People get stuck talking to someone and they don't know how to leave politely in English, so they just awkwardly stand there.
Exiting gracefully is a skill. Let's pretend we've been talking for 10 minutes and I need to go get a drink. So yeah, that's how I ended up moving to the city.
That is quite a story. Listen, Jesse, it has been so great chatting with you, but I'm gonna go mingle a bit and say hi to the birthday girl.
Absolutely. It was great meeting you, Jack. Let's catch up later.
Perfect execution. The anatomy of a graceful exit has 3 parts. First, the transition phrase, "Listen, Jesse," or, "Well, it's been great chatting." This signals that the conversation is ending.
Second, the polite excuse. You said you were going to mingle. To mingle means to walk around a party and talk to different people. It is a completely valid and expected reason to leave a conversation.
And third, the warm closing. "It was great meeting you. Let's catch up later." You don't just walk away, you leave the door open for future interaction.
We have time for one more major situation, and we saved the hardest for last, the telephone.
The dreaded phone call. Phone calls are terrifying for language learners because you lose all visual context. You can't see the person's lips, you can't read their body language, and the audio quality is often terrible.
Exactly. You are relying 100% on your auditory processing. Let's role-play a call to an internet provider because the Wi-Fi is down. I will be the customer service agent. Thank you for calling tech support. This is Jessy speaking. How can I help you today?
Hi, Jesse. I'm calling because my internet has been going in and out all morning, and now it's completely down.
I'm sorry to hear that. Could I get your account number, please?
Sure, it's 867... Sorry, wait, Jesse, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine now. I'm going to put you on a brief hold while I run a diagnostic on your router. Is that all right?
Yes, that's fine. Please just don't let me get cut off.
Phone vocabulary is incredibly specific to the medium. When Jack said the internet was going in and out, that is a perfect phrasal verb description for an intermittent connection. It connects and disconnects repeatedly.
But the most important phrase I used was, "You're breaking up." When the audio quality is bad, native speakers do not say, "Your voice is distorted," or "The machine is malfunctioning." We say, "You are breaking up." It refers to the audio cutting into pieces.
And I told Jack I was going to put him on hold. To put someone on hold means to make them wait on the line, usually listening to elevator music.
Which led to my final fear, don't let me get cut off. Getting cut off means the phone call drops or disconnects accidentally. If you spend 20 minutes on hold, the last thing you want is to be cut off.
So we just went through 5 very distinct, highly stressful daily situations: the workplace, the restaurant, the airport, the social gathering, and the telephone.
And notice how in every single one of those scenarios, fluency wasn't about knowing the most complex grammar rules. It was about knowing the right contextual chunks: packed, swamped, substitute, bear with me, breaking up.
This is what we mean by the 20-minute daily habit. If you spend 20 minutes a day listening to real conversations like the ones we just had, breaking down the idioms and understanding the culture behind the words, your confidence will skyrocket.
You stop translating, you start predicting. You begin to understand the rhythm of English, and that mental block, that terrible feeling of your mind going blank, completely disappears.
It takes time and it takes consistency, but if you immerse yourself in the reality of the language rather than just the textbook theory of it, you will absolutely master daily English.
Well said. I think that covers everything for today's breakdown.
I agree. It's been a great session.